Good day, my lovely axolotls. I realize that you guys may be watching this at any point. For me, it is first thing in the morning. um, but today I wanted to bring you guys along with me as I hopefully finish Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I started reading this about 2 days ago. I'm currently 66% of the way through, but I wanted to bring with you guys along as I finish it and review it. And just because my sole goal today is to finish Sunrise on the Reaping. Now, I'm going to be reading this while doing other things today. I've got appointments and errands that need to be run. So I have it on my Kindle. I also found it on through my library as an audiobook. So I'm also listening to it. So that'll be nice when I go around and do all my errands and appointments. That I can listen to it while I'm out of the house. And just a quick Kindle appreciation. I redid my stickers yesterday, so I'm very excited for a little refresh. If you cannot tell, my other refresh, I got a haircut and yesterday, and am absolutely loving it so far. So everything kind of need a little refresh, if I'm honest. So I wanted to take you along with me as I finish it. Hopefully I will finish it today. And because right now at 66% of the way through, we're in it. We are so in it in his games. There's only a few of them left. And so I've really, now I'll admit, it's not a 5-star read for me by any means. But I really feel like this is, I love reading the series and stuff because of the fact that I grew up with it, and I can't not read it. If that makes sense. I appreciate that Suzanne has gone back and has given us a few early games, like the fact with Battle of Songbirds and Snakes. We got Cornelius Snow when he became that during the 10th annual for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, seeing kind of where he evolved the Hunger Games, and then jumping to 50th and seeing A, Hamish's games, and B, kind of how some of our other characters are doing, because of course we do see President Snow. Snow is president by this point, as well as another familiar face that I'm very happy to have seen. I'm not going to spoil that one because I find it completely adorable. So we're going to read. I may be watching because I am in the middle of a big crochet project. Let's see if I can show you guys. So I like to have a big project going every so often. So right now the big project is a new cardigan. I am definitely in a cardigan. Oops. I am definitely in a cardigan era. Excuse that. I got a new mic. I'm so excited. I updated my setup. I've got you guys on a new tripod, and I've got a new mic. So I'm curious of what your opinions are in regards to the audio. Please let me know, like, by the end of the video, like, watch through the video, if you have any opinions on this audio versus my previous audio. Please let me know, just because I know sometimes without the mic being closer or further away can affect the audio. This one was rated well on Amazon, so I'm hoping it works out. We'll see. This is my first video I'm doing with it, so if for whatever reason something's up with it, I'm gonna find out through this video, okay? So bear with me if the audio isn't great, but if it's great, wonderful. And I'm so glad you can hear me. And so yeah, I'm currently, back to the original point, I'm currently working on a cardigan. It's a bottom-up pattern where this, it like wraps around like this, to where I'm technically working on the entire thing at once. And so it'll like, these are the front flaps, and so then it's going to go out to a certain point, and then it's going to have to split because of the pattern that it is. It's going to be like a v-neck with a tie in front. It's going to be really cute. and then I'm going to crochet the sleeves. The sleeves are done separately and then attached. No, I do not plan for this to get done before the end of the day, but that is going to be my current project while I listen to it, because I do like to have it in my ears and having my hands busy. I do like immersive reading as well, but because I have a crochet project in going on at the moment, we are going to work on that with our hands while the book is going in our ears. And so I'm super excited to see how the rest of this book plays out. So let's do it. Oh, my heart. It just finished, and my goodness. So, okay, I'm gonna sit with this a moment because I do have thoughts and opinions on it. But while I think on it, because I'm gonna go grab some other yarn because I have finished this one, so I'm gonna go get some yarn to make my square for it, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have finished that, I've got my colors for my granny square, and I'm gonna work on this while I talk to you guys, just because I have like I'm not starting with that color. I'm gonna start with purple. I think I'm gonna rate Sunrise on the Reaping at about 4 stars. It was really good. I really, oh gosh, where to even begin? Because if I'm being honest, there was something about this set of games that I wasn't expecting. But at the same time, I mean, it really makes a lot of sense as to kind of the outlook that Hamish has when he's with Katniss and Peeta for during the trilogy. Because I love that Hamish has a similar outlook to Peeta and Katniss, which is fantastic. And so just to see the games themselves, I feel like very similar to the 74th in a way, to Katniss and Peeta's first games. Just, oh, am I starting at the wrong end of my yarn? Yes, I am. Anyway, there's something about that of course, like, because of course we didn't know anything about these games until this book, obviously, because all we knew going into this one is that Hamish's games were 50th quarter quill, that it was double the tributes. That's all we knew going in. So of course, to figure out how on earth Hamish became victor. Now, I it's incredible because of the fact that I feel like we learned a lot about like how, because we see how like Hamish's outlooks and his demeanor in the trilogy, and then there's, of course, like I said, there are a few characters that we meet in this one that we know from the trilogy. It's kind of like, because what I like about this one is that there's the combination of knowledge from the trilogy and then from Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, because there's overlay in some information from, because there's additional information. Let me rephrase. The information that we get in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes comes up in and holds an interesting point in this one. And then on top of that, we have the information in regards to characters and kind of like Hamish's outlook on life. In regards to characters that we meet in the trilogy that come up in this book, and then learning about why Hamish looks at life the way he does as a mentor. And as the series progresses through the trilogy. And so of course, like, I saw a lot of similarities between him and Katniss. And part of me feels like that was the point of some of Hamish's outlooks and viewpoints on the Capitol and the games. But of course, by the time that we make it to 74, it's like, obviously some things didn't play out for Haymitch. But what can we expect from the Capitol in reality, really? And then, but just because of what we learn about him, specifically through the end of the book and the epilogue, as to why he is the way he is in the trilogy, why we find him to be a drunken mess, relationshipless, and how he's just gotten himself into his own little bubble. Because that ending, him returning home from the games, was heartbreaking. All of it was absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, I expected it to be. I mean, it's the Hunger Games. You can't really, like, it can't not be heartbreaking, you know? But I'm like, just the way that everything plays out, the way that all of these things come into play. President Snow, my God, like, he's always been a little, um, he's always been a little shit, hasn't he? Because you can see how the games have developed between Snow in the 10th and Snow at the 50th. And of course, it's only developed from there into the trilogy, timeline wise, because holy shit, it's kind of ridiculous. So it's like, I feel like this was actually a really good book to tie in the two books, being the trilogy and then Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I feel like they tied in, this book tied all of that in together. And I, like, even looking back on it, because of how we know how the 75th go, the fact that with the 75th Hunger Games being a bringing in, of course, being the third quarter quell, what they did there, bringing in old victors, because everybody, all after Katniss and Peeta won, everybody, all the districts now had at least one boy and one girl victor. And so, and just seeing how little 12 had at the 50th, it's like, I feel like there's a lot of comparison and similarities, of course. And so, but I also loved the connections between Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and this one, Sunrise on the Reaping. And I absolutely loved it. It tore at my heartstrings, which I expected and I loved. I appreciated. Because how can you not read a Hunger Games novel and not tear at the heartstrings a little bit? And just, they said, learning about the Capitol and how, like, they've always been this dubious, the Capitol's not being always what it seems, and how it plays with its people and its stories, and just the absolute atrocities that the Capitol puts its people through in the stories that it tells. Because of course we never know what ends up being shown during the presentation of the games, but of course, like, we learned a lot of what didn't happen. We learned a lot about what wasn't shown during the Victor tour when they did his interview. But of course, again, it's the Capitol. It's the other character that I was thrilled to see them flesh out was Plutarch. Plutarch, of course, we met Plutarch in the main trilogy, and then we met a family member in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I think it was his father that we met in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, or did we meet Plutarch in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? Anyway, the Heavens be family. Okay, I really loved the evolution of Plutarch's character and his role in regards to he is who he is. He has this role in the capital, but he is different from those in the capital. And it's like I start loving this character more and more as I've read the books and as Plutarch has developed. And knowing him from the trilogy and then again from Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, just I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love just seeing the evolution of the characters in regards to those who we've met in previous books and who we know we'll see in the trilogy. And I love the connection that this brings between in the timeline. I'm curious to see if Suzanne Collins does any more Hunger Games writing, just because I don't know off the top of my head what else we would really want to see, because after this it's kind of like, what games would we really want to see, because of course we got Snow's evolution and we got Hamage's. I don't really think that there's anybody left, so I mean I wouldn't be upset if there isn't any more Hunger Games installments. But I mean, if she comes out with anything more, I will gladly read it. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I mean, unless we wanted to start seeing, like, the other victors games, like, from the other districts, like how we meet all of the victors in the 75th. Mags, Wirus, Finnick, Beatty, Joanna, just all of these other victors that we've come to know and love. I could see spin-offs for them in their games. But like, aside from that, I think that everything's really been covered. I feel like everything else would just have to be just general spin-offs or something, But I had so much fun listening to this, and I'm actually really glad that it only took me, I think from the time I talked to you guys, like maybe 2.5 hours to finish the book. So now I have the rest of the day to either start something else. Oh, I have an audiobook that I can read during my drives, and I can start the Atlas 6, which I showed you guys the other day that I was going to start. I think it was like last week. But then, of course, Sunrise of the Raven came out, and so I had to stop and watch it and read it, like, of course. So I'm going to let you guys go while I finish this square, and then I will show it to you guys before I sign off the vlog. The other thing that I really enjoyed about the story is that even though, like, we know kind of all the goings on of in regards to what happens inside the arena and what all of the capital mayhem that goes on in the arena between the mutts and the setup and just a lot of the action that takes place in the arena, that it's like part of me was almost like, it was almost like I was not attempting to, but it's like I was almost going into it just kind of knowing what happens, in the sake of, we know that Hamish wins, the whole mutts, and a lot goes on that is just the cruelty of the games. But then, of course, there is still big jaw-dropping moments, and that even in the arena, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? The development of the anticipation of how he does become the victor, what he does figure out, what he does try to do. I feel like it was done very well, and I absolutely love that. So thank you, Suzanne, for still, even though this is a series we know and love, and we know how it works and what happens, that there's still a little bit of unexpectedness that comes with it that still makes the story enticing and enthralling for us readers, especially those of us who have been part of the series for a long time, and that it's not like her just trying to keep it up just for the sake of keeping it up, but it is actually like still engrossing to read and be a part of this universe that she's created. Right, I'm in my last row. I always I'm always, when I do these squares at first, I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna look very good, and then all of a sudden it's like I finish it, I'm like, oh, you know what, that's not bad, that's not bad. That's how this one is right now. Alrighty, so here is the final square. I used purple, gold, and black. It's a 5-row granny square. And so every time I finish a book, I will make a granny square with corresponding colors. And then at the end of the year, I will gather all my granny squares and make something out of them. I have yet to figure out what I want to do, whether that be a cardigan or a blanket or something or other. I haven't quite figured it out yet, because I know that by the end of the year, I'm going to have a lot of them. But if, depending, just because I know that February was a slow month for reading, but this month's looking pretty good right now. So hopefully I'll pick up as the year goes on. We're only in March. So hopefully, if I've got plenty of them, I may form it into a blanket of sorts, depending on my count and how many I end up making. And so I will also put a cover here of the colored cover, just because on my Kindle, obviously, it was black and white, for the comparison, because I love doing these every time I read a book, just to show like my reading, as well as like also like seeing them one after the other, has been really fun. And I can't wait to see them once I put them all together, because I love this idea. And I like the gray square idea because I can use a few colors to represent the book rather than just like a color to represent the genre. Like, I actually want to see the books that I read. And of course, I'm a color girly. I love color. And so to be able to create squares out of all of the different colors has been really, really fun. So thank you for joining me on my vlog today. Nice, short, hopefully. We'll see once it's edited. It'll be nice. Hopefully it'll be like nice and short for you, which is actually a change for me, because I'm typically giving you like these long 45-minute, hour plus vlogs. And so I'm actually kind of glad this ended up on the shorter side, just like a cute little check-in. It's like, hey, I'm reading this new release and here's what I think. And so I hope you enjoyed. If you have not read it yet, I hope that if you are a Hunger Games fan, that you do read it, because I did thoroughly enjoy this book. Have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week, whatever you so need. Please take care of yourself, drink your water, eat your food, and be kind to yourself and to others. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.